These are the VRS Direct Force Pro pedals. So it's a high-end product, stainless steel construction with an industrial aesthetic. Very, very adjustable. All three pedals, the pedal faces in terms of height, depth, angle are fully adjustable, and overall pedal angle is also adjustable. Now, if we look at the throttle pedal first, we have quite a unique design here. So we have a rodless spring, which doesn't quite look right to the eye, but functionally performs extremely well. Absolutely no friction whatsoever, so really nice smooth response. And we have a lot of adjustability here in terms of initial starting force, preload, and also overall force and pedal travel. So if we move on to the brake, we have similar levels of adjustability, a very high-end, heavy-duty construction. We have the blue spring on here at the moment, which tolerates a 65 kilogram maximum force. Also supplied is the optional red spring, which doubles that to 130 kilograms. These are linear springs, which is not normally how a real-life brake pedal feels. So we have this very clever mechanism on the back here, which basically turns that into a progressive, more realistic feeling, which gives you quite a decent bit of travel for low-level trail braking, and then more of a ramp up when you're really braking much harder. And we have this tie rod at the top, which is fully adjustable, along with preload, so you can really fine-tune that exact force shape to your preference. On the clutch, we have a similar level of adjustability in terms of pedal face and also the shape of the curve. So we try to emulate a clutch plate, which is stiff initially and then flattens out as the clutch gives way. So that's emulated here with a small amount of adjustability, including overall travel as well. So we're very happy with this product, and we hope you are too.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit IRacing.com.
If you're looking to get serious in sim racing, one of the first things to do is upgrade your wheelbase and pedals. The powerful force feedback in our direct drive wheelbase makes a huge difference, and our highly adjustable precision pedals will give you the consistency you need to improve. So you'll not only get the best value for your money, but you'll also benefit from our quick, local shipping from Australia and save even more. Our transparent pricing has GST included, so there's no nasty surprises at checkout or further customs delays and charges. And if you're near Melbourne, you can simply pick up your hardware from our showroom and get a free product walkthrough from one of our VRS coaches. We offer excellent customer service after the sale, and our hardware is made of the highest quality components. To get yours today, just go to the URL on the screen or click on the button below. But hurry, stock is always limited due to high demand. So if you want to get faster, sooner, VRS is your answer.
Control, feel the thunder in my soul. Through the danger, through the pain, only one thing to do to get to victory lane. Taking risks, full send, and in the end, be the stits taking over. Cannot contain the desire to get victory lane. I hear the echoes of the past, the roaring ghosts that never last. But here I stand, the finish line, one last race, one last time. Through it all, get past the pain, cutting laps, making gains, feeling tired, get to my aim. The desire to get to victory lane, speeding faster, no control. Feel the thunder in my soul. Through the danger, through the pain, only one thing to do to get to victory lane. Taking risks, full send, and in the end, be the best. It's taking over, cannot contain the desire to get to victory lane.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Infinity Broadcasting, and welcome in to the IRWC presents the VRS Virtual Racing School Porsche Cup Series, coming at you for round 3 of Season 2 here this evening, out at the historic Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. We've taken a trip back in time. It's not a DeLorean we've taken, it's a Porsche Cup car this evening. I'm your commentator Hamish Munro, joined this week by the great Brenton O'Brien alongside me. Brenton, you work obviously as an admin for the Logitech G Pro Series, as well as team owner for Evolution Racing Team, one of the teams that obviously race in this series as well. Your team has a big part in Porsche Cup racing and sports car racing in general for the sim here in Australia. And it's exciting to have you on board, because I think, you know, tonight this classic variant of Silverstone, my preferred layout of Silverstone personally, I think the new modern Grand Prix one is absolutely boring and only really becomes interesting when there's weather involved. But I think it's cool that we can at least go back and race these older circuits, or these older variants of circuits in iRacing, based on the fact that they're still here. So we should be in for a good night.
Yeah, we should be, and thanks for the intro, Hamish. Anything but great. It's just great to be here, though, and really looking forward to what we had on offer tonight at the Silverstone Historic. And yes, you're right. I think if you're going to offer any layout, this is the preferred one. And whilst I don't think the new one's overly boring, I do think this is probably provides the better racing, and I think we're in some great racing tonight.
Now, I think you know, it's already been a tough start to the season for some drivers. Others have done incredibly well across the start process too. I think the big thing coming into tonight is our championship leader Corey Lazarus is not here, so he's taking an early drop round this season. We'll have a quick look though at our championship standings. He leads the way by 472 points, to 450 points, and behind him Colby Warren, our US-based driver. Lockhart Brownlee in P3 at the moment, Simon Mazzomo P4. Job Stewart took a big hit to his points last week at the Red Bull Ring on 403 points, but with Laz away tonight, an opportunity for Job to really sink his teeth into a solid night of racing. The other big part coming into this race tonight, you'll see down there P20 Jaden Wilcox, who actually won one of the sprint races last week, because unfortunately had to pull out of the series due to uni commitments. So he took his race win and then he took his bags home, Brenton. So that's opened up a spot to one of the waitlist drivers. A couple of waitlist drivers have been brought in actually, because there are some drivers who have pulled out of the series coming in tonight. So a fresh start for some of those drivers. A couple of them even scored points last week as well, so they're not at least starting on 0. Now they're on the locked-in list, one of them being Stacey Boyd, down in 42nd.
Yeah, and Stacey's provided some exciting driving and some very steady driving in other categories, so looking forward to seeing what he brings to the table tonight. And for those others that have come into the series, it's already building towards next season. So yeah, they've got themselves into the main game now. Let them get some experience. They're not winning the championship this year, they know that. They're not expected to, but what they will do is learn, and they'll build towards next season. And like you said, Corey's out for tonight. Obviously, he's got commitments elsewhere, can use his drop round. And we can already tell you that in practice, they're going to be cashing in tonight, because you've got Job Stewart fastest in practice at the moment. Colby Warren's in P3, and Lockhart Brownlee is P4. So those that are knocking on the door for Corey, they're actually making the most of tonight already.
Well, we've then also got to look at the name Sam Muir as well in P2 on the road at the moment in practice. P28 in the positions. He missed round 1, so he's already used his drop round this season. So as of round 4 after next week, we will be applying a drop round. and that will then give us a better picture of where Sam actually sits in amongst the field leading into the halfway part of the season. There has been a slight change to the formatting this season as well. After last week's rush round at the Red Bull Ring, we have made the decision to change Winton to a sprint round next week. We will also be releasing some sup-regs for next week as well. One of those being that it will be solo qualifying for next week at Winton, because if we can expect as many cars as we've been getting this season, we don't want anyone to be hindered out during qualifying. And then any other rounds that we feel we may need to implement supplementary regulations, we will be doing so for those. But yeah, Winton will be the first one to get supplementary regs. It has mean that we have now changed the Okayama round at round 7 to a rush round to at least remain the balance of 3 of each. So that will now become a rush round. Luckily, compared between the two, Brenton, Okayama's just that little bit wider. There's a bit more opportunity for passing, so I think it's probably the better suited circuit out of the two for the rush round, at least with this many cars on track week in and week out.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's a worthwhile venture doing solo qualifying at Winton. It's a tight track, we know, and I think there's a bit of criticism out there for Winton, and I'm probably extremely biased because I actually did have something to do with Winton being introduced onto iRacing when I actually worked at Winton. Day number 2, I actually sent an email to iRacing and said, you must come and scan Winton and Sandown. And that was lucky, that was pre-COVID. And they were obviously quite obliging there, getting Winton and Sandown for us. But I think that Winton is actually suited to these cars and suited to that format. So I'm really looking forward to next week.
Yeah, I think it's going to be uber exciting. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Winton. It's one of my personal favourite circuits to drive. It's a tougher circuit to drive, though. You've really got to be in the rhythm to really benefit from Winton. That's what makes it difficult. It's very similar, actually, to the regular Grand Prix circuit of Silverstone. You need to be in a rhythm to really put the full lap together. Into qualifying now, though. 15 minutes on the board for these drivers to get lap times in. Should be plenty of time for them to challenge the timing tower here this evening. Early prediction, it's looking like Job Stewart's on the pace and he's on the money at the moment, but Sam Murr would like to challenge that, as would Colby Warren and as would Lockhart Brownlee, as you mentioned, Brenton. So, tough night for qualifying. Hopefully, those who are on off laps are not going to be impeding during this qualifying session. It's a nice wide circuit. We shouldn't really have anyone impeding anyone else out there, should we?
No, well, you shouldn't. That doesn't mean you won't.
That's right.
But it's just a matter of those that stay consistent and stay on kilter with others. Like, you don't want to be the only one doing a qualifying lap when all those are doing an in lap or doing an out lap. You're going to trip over and it causes carnage. So just got to stay in rhythm. And if you do happen to mess up your first lap, quite often I find is that you just grin and bear it, pit it, wait for the pack to go out, and then go do your lap with the pack again. So. But yeah, we can see the cars now coming out, and I think we'll be on board with Sam Muir at the moment, just warming up his tyres, getting ready for his opening lap. And like you said, has already missed a round, but has got himself to P28, showed some pace, genuine pace in practice, and he's the type of guy that can throw down a challenge to Job.
And I think the real challenge that may face Job tonight, so say he were to take the race win in the sprint race, is then actually having to start back in P10 for the feature. This is the first time this season we've had the regular sprint round format of a 20 and a 40. Obviously this is very similar to what a regular weekend would be like for a Porsche Cup driver. You do sometimes get those super sprint rounds, which of course our rush rounds are based upon, but more or less it is normally a short form race and a long form race across the weekend. So, I think for Job, if he were to get the win, then the big struggle is going to be trying to make his way forward in that feature, but there's plenty of overtaking opportunities here at this track. It's a good battling track. I find that this particular layout, for those who may not be aware of what the layout differences are, it looks a little bit different to the modern Silverstone circuit, but I think it allows for battles and allows for drivers to really go side by side, get in under brakes, get overtaking opportunities done for themselves. But it's whether you are able to push on for long enough. Now, obviously, 40 minutes, it's a long while. It's a very wide open track. we're not on the high likelihood, I think, tonight, Brendan, of seeing a safety car. So I think if it's going to have to be done on the track and then in with your strategy of taking your pit stop as well. So for Joe, we know he's got good pace, but those guys who will be around him in this race, they're not going to want to give it up easily. He's going to have to use every little bit of, every tool in his tool shed to try and get the job done and make it a double victory for himself to reclaim the lead of the championship.
Well, we won't put the cart in front of the horse, though, because after our first lot of flying laps, and we're down to our last 10 minutes now of qualifying to go, Joe did put the effort in to do a lap and hasn't set a time, so down in P27 at the moment. Dan Yeaman, 42.737, leads the way in front of Greg Favell. And you look at the names that we were expecting to be there, including Sam Muir, including Colby Warren, and obviously Joe Stewart. The three of them did not set a lap time. So, sorry, I tell a lie. Sam Muir's just gone to the top of the charts just then. He just put a time in then, 42.298. So that's actually a very strong lap.
It's a very strong lap.
Yeah, 4/10 faster than the next. Track temperature is 30 degrees, so we've got to keep an eye on that. 30.6 degrees to 31 degrees. We'll keep an eye on that to see if that's going to go up, because we're looking at 10:15 in the morning, so would expect that temperature to go up as Joe Stewart on his second lap puts a time in. So he's in P2, so like I said, we don't want to put the cart in front of the horse. And Ocean has, Colangelo has done a fantastic job up into P4 now. Ocean's a recent recruit here at Evolution Racing Team, and just adds so much enthusiasm to the team. Love seeing the work that she does, and is just prepared to learn. And she's already getting better. We've seen improvements in her over last night in the V8 Premier Series. Made the top split through a good result in split 2 and drove so well. And up to P5 at the moment.
Yeah, of course, former teammate of the Ryder brothers and, of course, fellow vets driver for you, Kaya Kinzel, who races as a part of We Race in that series. So for OCN, it's obviously a top-level drive with a top-level team in ERT. She's a young and talented driver, so onwards and upwards for her. I mean, you'd almost hope that she'd be getting towards the level of at least of notoriety of your Rehan Leonage. Sort of. Yep. You think of young drivers, one of the first names you think of is Rehan, or you think of, at least previously, prior to this year, Ty Delaney, who's had a bit of a step away from the rig recently. But no, her name's definitely getting out there and up there, and one that is becoming more and more recognisable whenever you see her on screen in an Australian sim racing race.
And this is someone who has brought success into her karting days and has really significant plans next year to possibly go overseas and try and have a go at the F1 Academy. I hope I'm not letting the cat out of the bag there. I wouldn't think so, because chasing sponsors as well. But this is someone who's got a huge amount of potential, and like I said, is very enthusiastic and is willing to learn. And so at Evolution Racing Team, they've put her into their Hornets program, which is in essence there to learn. Herself and another driver, Sean Evans, have joined this year, and you can already tell that it's improved, and we've got guys who are enthusiastically able to help her when they find time. She runs a lot of series, not a lot of which others do run, but she's very, very busy behind the sim wheel, and she's got a busy week ahead of her, and it's great to see her not just here tonight, but also competitive up in the P6 at the moment.
Well, you speak of the Hornets. One of the Hornets, at least for the Porsche Cup car, 6-time V8 Vets champion Scott Gamble. It's quite weird to have him in a up-and-coming part of the team, but he doesn't really race Porsches, does he? He's trying to get some experience in a different car type. He's obviously mostly known for racing in the supercar, and he's had a lot of success in the supercar, and maybe chasing some more success in a different car type. Now with some of those 9.5 Sim Sorts drivers who've dropped out in Sean McNamara and Dean Logsdale, now the biggest team in this field of ERT. So, we joked last season that it was going to be 9.5 Sim Sports versus the world, but now it's turned into Evolution Racing Team versus the world in this season for Season 2. But, I think the growth of the series has been absolutely immense. It's been incredible, and it's been so heartwarming. And it might be my cholesterol. It might also just be the fact that I feel pleased with the fact that a lot more drivers wanted to come racing with us this season. A lot of high caliber drivers wanted to come racing with us this season. And, we wanted to try and have this be, obviously a big series, because we wanted this to be successful, and we wanted the drivers to have a place that they could come racing every single week. So it's great to see the support that we've had from the drivers and the viewers as well. Everyone who's been viewing with us has been absolutely fantastic, and we're hoping it can continue down this route. I mean, the perfect world is, we look at this from, 5 years down the line, and we've got multiple splits and multiple skill levels where everyone and anyone can come racing and they can have a chance to win. So, that's what we want to try and promote. Job Stewart, though, you smited him a little bit there, Brenton, saying he hadn't set a time yet, and he's managed to go back-to-back on the quick laps. He's done a 42 dead, at least on the timing. On the timing tower, though, it's a 41.9, so he is the only driver to get into the 41s at the moment. He's found his groove. He's found his pace. Sam Murr needs to find a little bit more pace to challenge him, as does Mr. Daniel Yeaman of Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport up in P3.
So Joe has got himself into the 41s, and that's 3/10 faster than Sam. But like you said, though, it's not just about the qualifying tonight. It's where Job's going to be and how Job's going to handle the reverse grid races. There's a lot of fish to catch tonight, and Job needs to. Job's a quality driver, and he does a great job on the sim. He does a great job in the Super 2 in real life. But there's still going to be some challenges ahead of him, and there's some guys and gals that will be in front of him later on. We assume that he's going to have to work hard for. Greg Favell. Well, there's been no chat about Greg Favell at all. He, again, a quality driver who does a good job week in, week out, in no matter what category he drives. Like, obviously, very accomplished in the supercars in the Vet Series, but also puts up a really, really good fight here with the Porsches. And, again, strong team backing, and is doing a good job now as he just about to get in a lap time. Be interested to see what this lap is. Had a look at it before. It was a little bit messy as he crosses the strike, and there doesn't seem to be an improvement. Damien can, so does make an improvement. So they've actually just swapped over the 76 and the 88, the teammates. So Damien Cairns moves to 4, and Favell drops to 5. But these guys can work well together, and when these guys are drafting each other off each other later on, that's just going to make him even more difficult to pass. But a good effort by that team. Yeah,
it's a very, very good effort as well. We've got a heap of chats out there tonight already. Great to have you all here. Project 36 joining us. Jaden Wilcox in the chat too. Elliot Price. Ben's out there watching with us too. He did ask for more volume from Brenton, which is why I assume Brenton changed the volume on his mic. I did try
it's called shouting.
Yeah.
I didn't change it. Yeah. I just spoke louder, so hopefully that works for you.
Hopefully. I did turn you up slightly before, so hopefully that is a little bit better now. Rain Campbell in the chat as well. No Laz tonight? No. As Jaden said, he's on holiday with his family at the moment, so we'll see Laz back hopefully next week, but we know that his season may be slightly broken up due to the pro qualifiers for the European or the international officials for the Pro Porsche series out there on iRacing, but hopefully he is able to be here every week as well. Speaking of Laz, he is in the chat. Colby, no qual laps. He's done 2 laps, but neither of them have counted, so I'm going to assume he's caught off track somewhere, and that's then cost him those times. Can be a tough track for those off tracks, though.
The thing is with Colby, though, we've got a minute and a half to go. Now, I'm not aware, is there any penalties that might be standing out for him? Any real grid penalties?
No.
I don't know, because
there are none of those.
It is unusual that he's been in pit lane for over 5.5 minutes. He's not going to get a reflective time because he's still in the pits. So you could already lock Colby in for P34 because there's only a minute to go in qualifying.
Yep, final laps starting to begin now for these drivers as they've crossed over Abbey and are heading up towards Maggots and Beckett's here. Job Stewart in pit lane, so he feels that lap time's good enough for him here, Brenton. He doesn't think that the likes of Sam Murr, Daniel Yeaman, Cairns or Favell or even Brownlee could challenge that time, as Mers actually had to pull out of that attempt. Oh, is it?
Yeah, so,
I mean,
so
it's tight.
Track temps, yeah, it's tight. 10th, he's a 10th, and Sam has pitted, so his qualifying is done as well. Track temp has gone up just a fraction, 31.7, so that, you know, temp 1.5 degrees will make a difference. And we've still got a very good solid top 10, including Ellie Gardner in P10 at the moment. And again, another driver who did so well at Nürburgring Hockenheim, in round 1. It was fantastic to see what she was able to bring to the table. So, you know, it's what are we in the last 10 seconds? There's a few cars still on hot lap, including the Greg Favell car, who looks like he's actually put a good lap together so far. So we'll stick with this and see if Greg Favell can improve from his 5th position.
He's not going to be able to make it there.
He's not going to get there.
Yeah, unfortunately, with the sprint rounds, they get cut off before the 15 minutes are up. So for Greg Favell, he unfortunately could not make it to the line in time, but it has meant that our grid is solidified for race 1 here this evening. It will be as follows. Job Stewart will start pole position alongside Sam Muir on the front row of the grid. Daniel Yeaman, Damien Cairns on the second, with Greg Favell and Lockhart Brownlee for your third. Rodney Golan on debut tonight does well to get into P7. He came off the wait list to go into the locked-in list this week, and he started off strong by getting P7 in qualifying. He'll start alongside the young Ocean Colangelo ahead of Jared McLeod and Ellie Gardner for your top 10. Shannon Fever, Alan Dawson, solid qualifying from then to get onto the 6th row of the grid. As we then look a little bit further back to Simon Mazzomo, last season's champion, the defending champion, will start at a P13 alongside Project 36's Harry Dodds on the 7th row of the grid. Marcus Cook, Paul Wilson will start ahead of Scott Gamble and Craig Schultz, with Angus Lawford and John Akers for your top 20 here this evening. Martin Lofthouse, Dean Reddit will start ahead of Tim Nicol and Sean Lindsell then for the top 24, with Stacey Boyd, Wiley Blair, David Clark and Steve Tonkin for the top 28 cars. Kurt Chapman makes his debut tonight as well, comes onto the locked-in list. So does Blake Fitzpatrick, although he debuted last week as a fill-in. He's now a locked-in driver for your top 30. Gary Watson, Johnny Rowe will then start ahead of Aaron Smith and Colby Warren if he manages to make it onto the grid here this evening. 34 cars the first round of the season, where we have not had more than 40. It's still, though, a great size grid, and it's going to be a tough night for some drivers, especially if you're trying to battle your way forward. But 20 minutes on the clock for them in race 1. Should be plenty of time for plenty of action.
Yeah, absolutely, and the grid's forming now, and we've got Job on pole position. And certainly here at Silverstone, the inside line is certainly the preferred and fastest line. Sometimes you find, tracks like Suzuka, where if you're starting on the outside, you do tend to get quite a good jump away, but certainly not the case here at Silverstone. And with the start formation, they're not 2x2, they're actually off kilter with the start grid, so certainly advantage to Job. And look, to be honest, I would expect him, if there's nothing to go wrong, you would expect over a 20-minute race that he would be the favourite for this. Decent crowd in the background too. It's good to see so many people here.
Yeah, good to see what we were able to drag in the virtual crowd for Silverstone. They've all somehow come back in time with us here, Brendan. Maybe we just replace the old 991 race that would have happened here, 20 odd years ago. We've got 22 people watching out with this as well. So great to have you all here with us. Be sure to hit the like button as well if you're watching along and you're enjoying what you're seeing. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon too, so you're notified whenever we go racing here. We have got plenty of action coming your way on Infinity Broadcasting this week, not just tonight with the VRS Porsche Cup Series. We've also got the IRWC Rodnock Cup on Friday night as well. It was an absolute cracker last week at Charlotte Motor Speedway. This week we head out to Martinsville, which should be a tough test for those ARCA cars, and then the Split 2 action of the V8 Veterans as well on Saturday night, right here on Infinity Broadcasting as the lights are up and we are underway at Silverstone for round 3 of season 2, the VRS Porsche Cup Series. Stewart got off to a great start. Murr and Yeaman have gone with him well. Brownlee already up 2 off the start line. Those XSR cars will be absolutely wincing right now, knowing that they've dropped off the start so early, as drivers are already making contact and manoeuvring around in the background. That was Gamble and Lofthouse coming together, it seems. So there's already some action here.
Yeah, there is, and Scotty's had some dramas in round 1. Obviously, he's continue on with those dramas here, and bit unfortunate, but we have found out that Colby received a qualifying penalty, so he's actually started from pit lane. So he needs to cash in on all these other incidents, other cars are involved. He needs to get up as much as he can because it will affect his grid position from here on in. And we're talking about a guy who's very high in the overall positions. But in the meantime, Job Stewart leads comfortably.
He does as well. Drivers are still scrambling for early positions here. And this is one of those, it's the point of the race, isn't it, Brendan, where cars are closest together and you are just trying to pick off any little position you can. Craig Schultz, he hasn't made any gains just yet, but he's trying to make gains on drivers who've already lost positions, of Paul Wilson and Marcus Cook ahead of him. Biggest gainer thus far outside the top 10, including Blake Fitzpatrick's already up 5. Sean Linzell as well of ERT is up 4 positions at the moment. So those guys are already on a good run. As Stacey Boyd has had a big spin for phase 4 down at the entry towards Cops. So already off the road, needs to be careful. The rejoin does well. Yeah. So he's gotten that one sorted. As Stewart will lead us round for the beginning of lap 2. Stewart to Muir to Yeaman, Brownlee, Favell, Cairns, Golan, McLeod, Gardner and Fever are the top 10. Mazoma already up 2, challenging the back end of the top 10 at the moment.
And an opening standing lap of 49.41 for Job Stewart. So already, this is the thing, that you find the good guys know how to lead. They know how to make the most of their tyres right away and make optimal pace on the cold tyres and get them up to temperature. And he's already broken the draft of the cars behind Sam Muir, who's actually got Dan Yeaman pushing here. Quite a significant gap between Yeaman and Lockhart Brownie who's battling away. But this is a good little battle we've got on the for second position. And if Job looks in his mirrors, this is exactly what he would be encouraging.
Yeah, he wants them to keep battling as hard as they can. Because obviously the more they battle and the more they try and jostle for position, the better it is for Job. He can then just push on, keep it clean, and it should be a race win for him. Let's have a quick look back at the start of the race where we saw Scotty Gamble involved in an incident as we get everything back up to full speed for you. We obviously saw him spinning off the exit of Abbey. So how has this happened here for Scotty? So it was a slightly, not necessarily a poor start, but not the best that he would have hoped for. Didn't really bog it down, just kind of got caught up in amongst the mess. And then as he came through the JWM car on the inside of him, and just the slightest of contact.
Yeah, has there been contact, or has Scotty just lost rear traction? I'm not so sure. Look, straight away, the initial thought is probably a bit of contact. So he was just a passenger there for somebody else's ride, but it did look like it left him pretty easily there.
And this was Boyd's incident down towards Cops. Just got it a bit loose. Yeah, classic rear engine Porsche maneuver there of just spinning around when you least expect it. So
yeah, so I'm not going to throw dispersions in regards to the gamble off on turn 1, because that could have been like, didn't really see from that angle whether there was car contact or not. Certainly secondary contact, absolutely, but you know, you look at that spin just there and you look at Gamble's spin, there's a bit of similarities between them. Early days. Could be cold tyres, but yeah, in the meantime, the field has settled down, and you can see Sam and Dan still battling hard. The pack behind, though, with Lockhart Brownie and Greg Favell, these guys, that's a bit lazy there too. So again, more incidents here, and that's not what you need to see, because poor old Ellie Gardner has absolutely copped that, and the car hasn't moved as yet. So I'm wondering if she's going to be able to get this moving again. Yes, she can, reversing it out. Watch the rejoin, and that's quite safe. So up and moving again, but not what we want to see. Not ideal.
No, not at all. And I'm not sure if that was, Ellie going in a little bit too late, or Rodney just kind of moving over a little bit too much. I'll try and find the right thing to have a look at afterwards, just so we can get the angle correct off of that incident. At the moment, though, Job Stewart leads the way. Sam Mert, Daniel Yeaman continue their battle. Greg Favell is putting the pressure here on Lockhart Brownlee for P4 on the road. Damien Cairns has lost a little bit more pressure now, thanks to that incident between Gardner and Golan, which dropped them back further through the field. But with McLeod, he's going to try and chase him down as best he can, but Colangelo might start to put the pressure on him too. So it's all happening early on in this race here, Brenton, and at this stage, I mean, a mistake could happen to anyone. It could happen to Job. We don't know. It's a tough track. It can start to chew up the tyres just a little bit. Any little mistake, if you're off by an inch, well, you could be off by a mile by the end of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Joe brings quite a lot of experience to the floor, and you would think over a 20-minute race, I'm not going to say he's immune to making mistakes, but you would certainly think he's controlled. What surprises me the most, though, at the moment is the gap between 4th and 5th already. It's almost out to 6 seconds. The gap between Dan Yeaman and Lockhart Brownlee is almost 6 seconds. It's significant considering we've only completed the 3 laps. Obviously, there's been incidents in the background, but yeah, there's a lot of space between these guys already, and whether there's some dramas or whether it's they've been caught up in other incidents, but that is quite a significant gap at this stage.
Yeah, and I think, significant pressure on, those drivers as well, because not only are they under attack here as Colangelo up the inside of McLeod, still a little bit of overlap between them. She got the job done. Great move there by
good racing now.
by Ocean. Oh, McLeod's coming back at her though.
Back. Yeah, so probably a bit of inexperience there, Ocean. You would have thought would be better off closing the door straight away. I think Oscar made the same mistake last night with Lando, had a chance to close the door and didn't do it. And now Ocean has to work harder than what she would have had to have if she was able to get that job done. You would think that pretty good exit here, pretty fast coming up. You wouldn't think she's going to be able to stick those exits. Now it's just a patient game. Pick your time, pick your space, and you will get the move done. But if you start going 2 by 2, we don't want to go Noah's Ark through here because you will just drop time.
Yeah, you'll immediately drop and drop and drop, and it's not going to help your favour trying to move forward in this race. At the moment, though, if we look at the standings on the timing tower, Harry Dodds sits provisional pole position for race 2, currently P10 on the road, but he is under massive pressure at this stage from defending champion Simon Mazzomo, who is trying to get this move done, but Doddsy forcing him the long way round, it seems. Mez tried it last lap at this same corner. He couldn't quite get it through there as Brownlee is dropping. He was having blinking issues, I think,
yeah.
Brenton. Oh, he's back. He's back again, luckily. But if that continues, we may have our first case of the ping flag claiming a victim here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that's been introduced over the last few weeks. And as rare as we've seen it, it would be the worst timing to get it right now because, like I said, not only does it affect this race and the points within this race, but it affects next grid as well. So it's a double dip lose, isn't it? Greg Favell, though, as I said it during qualifying, this guy's a quality driver and he's doing a fantastic job against drivers who have been driving these Porsches a lot longer and have done a lot more testing, I would think. But, with a strong team, he's got his teammate Damien Cance just behind again. Look, off pace, probably got caught up. We're already 9 seconds off the lead, but is doing a good job. And it doesn't matter if you're 9 seconds off the lead in 5th place or whether you're 3 seconds off the lead in 5th place. It's the same points, the same grid position next race.
Yeah, that's right. It's you're going to be right up with them when we get to race 2 tonight. I think the benefit is Favell might be 10 seconds or 6 seconds behind Daniel Yeaman at the moment. But when we get to grid, not only is he going to be alongside him on the grid for race 2, there's not going to be a gap, is there? They're going to be on the same row, so all of a sudden that battle then becomes a lot closer. Right? Yeah, staggered start.
Yeah, staggered start on the grid, so that makes a difference, absolutely. We've got, who did Ellie end up coming to the pits? I don't think, so she did. So Ellie had to come in for a repair just in the lane for the 21 seconds, so a short stop there, but that's cost her obviously a lot of time and space. And also we see Sean Linsell and Blake Fitzpatrick have made a move on the car 031 David Clark. I see that they've both moved up as well. Sean's doing a good job. Sean's doing a really, really good job. Steady driver. Don't see him a lot because some real life commitments that keeps him very busy, but he loves getting into the Porsche and is doing a ripper of a job tonight. One of the unheralded drivers at ERT, and I don't want to make this an ERT show, but he just did a very, very tidy move on Kurt and Dave Clark, and Dave Clark and Kurt are actually battling quite well just behind here.
Yeah, good to see Kurt out here for his first race tonight in the series. as said, came off the wait list to become a locked-in driver this evening. Today was a massive influx of different drivers based on the fact that some drivers decided, when I mentioned to them they missed the first 2 rounds, do you actually want to race this season? And they said no, we'll go on the wait list. So then that gives an opportunity to somebody else, which fair play to them for owning up and saying, oh well, we haven't raced. We've been busy, so you can give it to somebody else, which is fair play to them. As Kurt Chapman and Martin Lofthouse, we gave him a bit of a... I don't believe in the commentator's curse, but it's very ironic that we're talking about Kurt and he's ended up off the road. We did. Let's have a quick look back, though, at Ellie Gardner's incident with Rod Gollan. So this was up at the end of the hangar straight, so she's on the inside.
Yeah, she stuck the nose in.
Yeah, I don't know if she was far enough up on Rod for that one, but...
Wondering if that 21.2, there was no stationary time. That to me has got drive-through written all over it, so I would think that that's what she has served.
Yeah, that would be a drive-through for sure. So
yeah, that looks pretty obvious drive-through. Stuck the nose in, didn't need to be there. Did not. Well, the driver didn't have to provide any racing room. Another one we need to keep our eyes out for, P2 in the championship. The car 201, we knew that Colby started from pit lane, and he's slowly working his way up. As another
that was Kurt and
the replay.
Yeah, that was Kurt and Martin. They just had that. Kurt started sliding, and then Martin decided, I'll just have a sympathy spin for you. I'll make you feel better about it. So that was nice of Martin.
That's the type of thing Colby would love to see, though, because he's working his way up. So. Started in the pits. He's got a gaggle of cars that he's going to potentially pass in front of him. It's a fine looking bit of kit, that car. So if he can get through these next 4 or 5 cars, get himself into the top 20s, a little bit of a train led by Linsell in front. What have we got? Still 7.5 minutes to go. So probably going to fit 4, maybe 5 laps in. There's potential here for Colby, to try and get himself in the top 20. P23 at the moment. Geez, you'd probably back him in, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think so. I think he could very easily get up towards the top 20 of this field. I mean, he is slowly but surely chasing down Rod Gollan. And then the thought process goes to, well, Rod had the spin up here on the last lap, or not last lap, earlier in the race. How are those tyres after that spin? Have they recovered from that spin? And how's the grip levels on board that Riot Sim Sports car? So for Colby, he's cool, calm and collected. He's got fantastic pace, of course. Now, he's not going to be up and around the leaders for the start of race 2, but it's a much better starting position than what he had for race 1. And with this sort of gain across, only 12.5 minutes, what could he do in 40 minutes? Well, only time will tell.
The problem he's got here, though, is that all the cars in front are all in a bit of a draft chain. He would love it if these guys were separated a bit more and pick them off one by one. But at the same time, it looks like this. If he uses his racecraft here, these guys in front are going to start sticking their nose in where they shouldn't. They're going to start defending more than they need to. They're going to be dancing in shadows, and we can already see this happening right here. Called it, saw it, and you can see him picking one off. Now there's a bit of a That was good avoidance. I'm not sure, was there any contact there? It was very close. Certainly no fault of Colby's, and took good avoiding action. And if he has got away with that, then he's already just gained 2 positions that lap. Gets him up to P21, but now there's quite a decent gap to the pack in front. So he's got a bit of work to do if he's going to get up to there.
So just to give an update on some of the penalties that have been applied tonight. So, of course, Colby had that pit lane start from pitting during qualifying. Dean Reddit, one of the cars behind him as well, also had a penalty for impeding. So did Aaron Smith as well at the back of the field. So 3 cars had impeding and qualifying penalties, so they all had to start from pit lane. And then, just to confirm, Ellie Gardner getting that drive-through penalty earlier in the race as well. Been a relatively clean race thus far, though, which is good to see. Yep. A couple of off-tracks, a couple of minor mistakes here from the drivers, but it's nothing untoward. I think probably the most demanding thing, which actually looking at the top 10, it's a very talented top 10 at the moment with that reverse grid for the top 10. Do we then see some chaos off the start line? I'm not sure if we do. It might only come if maybe some of the faster drivers get a poor start and then they want to try and push forward too early. But But, you know, guys like Job and Sam and Daniel, they'll know it's 40 minutes of racing. You've got plenty of time to battle throughout the top 10. Don't need to do it on lap 1.
And pit stop will be needed for the long race as well. We look at the fastest lap time from Colby, a 42.652. Last lap was a 44.4. Disregard that, there was incident. But a 44.652 is quite competitive. Fastest lap of the race for Job is a 42.36. So considering that that Colby has possibly been in traffic for the majority of the race, it's quite a competitive time. We look at last year's season champion, he's under attack here.
He is, Simon Mazzomo. Oh, big door from McLeod. Sends him off the road in a wild run through Maggots and Beckett's. McLeod is off and spun round and has to get the car back going again. Good rejoin, but look at that. Could be another free position here for Colby Warren. Oh, it all of a sudden, these little, and again, these little 1%er incidents where in a normal race you might not think, oh, this has got big implications. For Colby, it's massive implications because it's more and more positions that you can now gain going through the field. So this is working out nicely for him as he'll begin to put the pressure on. Colangelo, though, has been under pressure from Brownlee over the last few laps. Cairns is right there with them too. They're doing well.
I don't think so, because I think Ocean's actually just...
Oh, no, sorry, no, she has, yes.
Yeah. So Brownlee's on the slide at the moment. He's going the wrong way. Whether he made a mistake back there, but Ocean did not have a good start. She dropped 3 positions off the grid, but working her way very, very well through the field. You would think that this is where she's going to max out now. P5, I think she's up to now. But Lockhart's not just going to put a lot of debris on the track from the previous incidents. That would be the Favell incident from the last lap. But this is a fantastic job by Ocean. Very competitive, and now, if anything, starting to drive away from Lockhart.
Yeah, she's almost out to above a second as Cairns is getting past Lockhart as well. I have to wonder if there's maybe a problem with that Orbit Drop Bear car, because he is, to pardon the pun, he is dropping pace at the moment.
So it looks like he's having, from what I understand, team manager Dyson Broad's good enough to give us up to date. Looks like he's having some wheel issues. It's why he should be going and moving to a Logitech wheel, I would think. But he's going backwards, isn't he? And Mazzomo now is going to be cashing there. What Brownlee needs to make sure we do, when there's 2 minutes to go, he needs to stay in the top 10. If he drops to 11th and beyond, it's going to burn him twice. So right now, he needs to defend and hold the position that he can.
Yeah, Mazzomo trying to make his way past as well. Oh, and he's off the road, and that there.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Lockhart, get in contact with us. We'll find you your discount code, and you can send a message out to VRS. They might be able to help you find a new wheel, possibly. But, that there.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's okay.
Oh, I don't like that rejoin. I don't like that rejoin at all. And that's something that the stewards may look at. That was ordinary. I'm pretty sure that's being called in straight away.
Dodsy's just called that in. So it's only going from bad to worse tonight for Lockhart Brownlee. It's a real shame. There are some drivers, of course, who will be relishing in that fact. Colby Warren, who we've spoken about to no end. Dean Reddit as well, who started at the back of the field. So this could play massive dividends for them. 19 minutes though of the 20 have currently been done and dusted as Job Stewart has started just recently this lap. Oh, this may be the white flag, because he's only just started the lap here, Brenton, and he's only just coming through Maggots and Beckett's. So it's going to be tight for another lap here, but it may only be 12 that we get here in race 1. But I mean, he's got a suburb behind him. If he was only a few seconds away from the line, just lift off a little bit up towards the line and then cross still in P1, but with no time left on the clock, you get the checkered. So.
Well, hopefully he's got the watch on and having a look at the time, and he's got some time to play with behind. He's got 5.5 seconds back to Sam Muir. Sam's done a really good job this race. He's just held his nerve, stayed in P2, gathered some points. Long way to go in the championship. And that's the same can be said for Job, who had an absolute mare last week. You know, if he's going to cross the line, time's going to run out now.
Yeah,
so,
he'll get it.
This
He'll
will be the last lap. Yeah. And in all honesty, it just dominated this race, dominated qualifying. But he now will have to work hard in the next race. And we do give a special shout out to other drivers. Angus Lawford has for Project 36 has made significant gains well. Actually, it won Split 2 race. No, it came second Split 2 race last night in the Premium Series. But in the meantime, we can ride on board with Job Stewart as he comes up the finish.
So as he comes around the final corner of the circuit, Job Stewart will make it 1-0 here tonight for the racing at Silverstone. He takes his second win of the season. Sam Murr comes home in P2 with Daniel Yeaman on the podium for race 1 here this evening. Greg Favell will come home P4 up 1 spot. Ocean Colangelo up 3 positions in this race, but a net gain technically of around about 5 or 6 after she dropped a couple off the start line for a top 5 finish. Great performance. Damien Cairns. Simon Mazzomo up 6 positions inside the top 10. Angus Lawford up 11 inside the top 10, as well as Dodsey makes it a double Project 36 top 10 finish, and Shannon Feeble will finish P10, but crucially will start pole position of race 2 here this evening. Paul Wilson, Marcus Cook, Craig Schultz, Alan Dawson. Lockhart Brownlee dropped all the way back to P15, but if he can't get those wheel issues sorted, then it might be an early end to the night for him, as Stewart's already getting the burnout started.
Well, you could be sending the invoice for these tyres straight to ERT, no doubt, but a fantastic effort by Job, and to be honest with you, probably expected, without trying to be arrogant on Job's behalf, but he just did a fantastic job. And a shouts out, because Colby did get himself into the top 20 in the end from grid stock. Don't forget, there was no safety cars, so that was a fantastic job, and the type of job that is salvaging a series already. So fantastic work for Colby.
P21 in the end. Are you commentating down from the area where he just did the burnouts, Brenton? Perhaps is that what?
Yeah, a bit of smoke in the air. Yeah, a bit of smoke in the air.
Yeah, using up all the Michelin tyres that he was given for this race. But yeah, it's the second race win of the season for Job Stewart. He's proving already that he's liking these slightly longer form races this season. Of course, won the first round at Hockenheimring during the 60-minute race. It dropped a couple of points last week in the rush out at the Red Bull Ring. Caught up in a couple of incidents, and then tonight already here at Silverstone, obviously, again, a longer track. Longest track we've run this season, and he's done well. So be interesting how he does next week. Of course, he would have some real-world experience at Winton. So that would, definitely give him some benefits. Of course, it benefits guys like Blake Warboys in the past as well in other series, as that's his local circuit. So, for real life track experience, wherever you've got it, can play a massive hand in how well you do. So, keep an eye on Job in the next 3 weeks, because of course we've got Winton next week, then the Bend, and then Bathurst. So 3 circuits that he's got some performance at. So that'll definitely help his case for the next few weeks. It'll put some pressure on Corey Lazarus when he returns. But I mean, what we saw last season, Brenton, no matter how many wins you can get throughout the season, you've got to be consistent with those amount of wins as well. And in the end, what cost Corey was he had a poor round where he'd already used a drop round, but he'd actually taken penalty points, and that was what really cost him in the end. So you've got to try and be consistent, stay penalty-free the whole season, and then you should find yourself with a title at the end. I mean, Mazzomo won last season without even winning a single race. He just finished inside the top 10 and the top 5, the most out of anyone, and took no penalties. So that all paid off for him. I am getting contacted at the moment by race control, so I might just quickly take this and see what he wants, and then I can give the update once I've got the news. So I've just been told, apparently, there's a safety car race happening during this warm-up, Brenton.
A safety car race?
The race controllers are apparently doing a safety car race.
Okay, so...
According to...
Don't need to know why.
Yeah,
don't need to know much about
this. All I got told was they're doing a safety car race. So... I don't know why they've decided to do this.
How to thrash around a perfectly good BMW. So you're talking about consistency, as these boys are just having a bit of fun. You talk about consistency. So trivia time for you all out there. The 1982 Formula One World Championship, Keke Rosberg was the world champion. how many race wins did he have to win the Formula One World Championship in 1982?
0.
I'm not going to give the answer away just yet whilst everyone's madly typing away on Google. But I'm probably showing my age here a little bit. I do remember the season fairly well. I drove for Williams. Yeah, it was a very... And back then, 9 points for a win, 6 points for second. It was only the top 6 that got points. Not like giving away the points like they do these days. So it just proves that consistency does the trick. And in 1982, when Keke Rosberg won his one and only race that season, was still the world champion.
Were you just giving away the answer?
I did, because no one was answering it.
Oh, well, I said 0 on that front, but still, I mean, I know that wasn't it Alan Jones also won his championship by only winning one race a few years prior as well? Like,
so
he was...
No, Jonesy won in 1980.
Yeah.
And I think, no, he certainly won more than one race, again for Williams, the car 27. Good story about the car 27 when I was working up at Winton. So coming up to 2020, so unfortunately COVID smashes, but we had AJ all sorted to celebrate 40 years of his World Championship. He was going to drive that Williams, the FW07, I think it was, around Winton with all the TV cameras. We had the Williams Formula One team were going to come out and set the car up, because that car's actually based at Tullamarine Airport here in Melbourne. So very easy to get the car there, and mate, it was going to be super cool to have AJ driving that car there. But unfortunately, an Italian came over to Australia back then, and he coughed, and away we went, and the whole place closed down for quite a while. But no, good times.
Well, we've got more good times ahead as well. We are only a few seconds away from the warm-up being over and done with. It appeared that, as usual, our race controllers, they're race controllers for a reason. It's because they like to have crashes with each other. So, yeah, that race control race did not last very long for them during this session. Damien Cairns trying to get a practice start in. Ellie Gardner trying to get a little bit more track time in as well. I saw Lockhart Brownlee was testing out his wheels, so he may have adjusted some settings on that car as we are cut off for the warm-up. And race 2 will be on its way very, very shortly. We've got a heap more chats out there with us. Jack Watkins in the chat. Very nice of Colby to push the other guy straight. Tidic Liddy as well. Job is my goat. Sousa Ribeiro, Barbados, Uruguay. Tyson Broad saying Lockhart is having wheel issues, so he gave us that information as well. Andrew Rushworth joining us tonight. Too great to have you out there. And then Infinity Misses hope the safety car wins the safety car race. So I think we're almost guaranteed that to happen.
The safety car did win. I don't know if it did, because
I think the fans won that one there.
Yeah.
I think the fans won that race. The safety car did not.
I think the local BMW dealer would have.
Oh, for sure they would have. But starting grid, though, for race 2 will be as follows. Shannon Fever will start pole position ahead of Harry Dodds on the front row of the grid. Angus Lawford, Simon Mazzomo on the second row with Damien Cairns and Ocean Colangelo for your top 6. Greg Favell, Daniel Yeaman will start ahead of Sam Murr and Job Stewart for our reverse top 10. The rest of the field will start how they finished in race 1 with Paul Wilson, Marcus Cook in behind them. Craig Schultz, Alan Dawson, Lockhart Brownlee, John Akers then for the 8th row of the grid. Tim Nicol, Wiley Blair, with Sean Linzell and Blake Fitzpatrick for your top 20. Colby Warren, Jared McLeod start ahead of Scott Gamble and Rodney Golan for your top 24. Dean Reddit, Steve Tonkin, Stacey Boyd, Johnny Rowe, the top 28 with Gary Watson, Kurt Chapman, the top 30. Ellie Gardner, Martin Lofthouse, David Clark and Aaron Smith at the back of the field here for race number 2 this evening. And I think the most important thing for the drivers now in this race, Brenton, is just take your time and take advantage of any, to have patience, but take advantage of any little mistake that may be made from a car ahead of you. Have the patience, apply the pressure. You got 40 minutes, see what positions you can make up throughout.
Yeah, so over the longer races, you can't win the race on the first lap, but you can certainly lose the race on the first lap. And hopefully, certainly the top 10, hopefully they've got that mindset that they can start picking off cars. And or if they need to defend, we've got last year's defending champ, Simon Zoma, starting in 4th. There's no reason he can't get in front here and drive away. He's a defending champ for a reason. But really to see the progress of Job and Sam in particular here.
So Fever will start on the front row. Lights will go up for race number 2. 40-minute feature to come your way. Reverse top 10. What chaos can ensue as the scramble towards turn 1 begins. It is a cracking start from Simon Mazzomo, already up now to P2 on the road, past the Project 36 cars. And with Shannon Fever in his sights, we saw some carnage lap 1, turn 1 of the last race. Have we made it through cleanly this time by? It seems we have. But already Lawford is coming back at Mazzomo through Maggots and Beckett's here. But they need to have a bit more patience if they hope to make their way through, as the gaps are just tightening ever so slightly. Every single time they run through that corner at the race start, it's almost wince-worthy because you think, is someone going to get turned? But already off the start, Mazzomo up 2, Yeaman up 2, Muir and Stewart up 2 as well. Colangelo again struggling off the start line, down 4, Favell down 2 as well, as Stewart up the inside of Muir at the end of the hangar straight. So she'll have work to do once again here, Brenton. But, you know, that then says to you, well, if she can maximise and figure out how to start the car well, she's going to be a driver to beat.
Well, taking attention to the way she started then, and it was almost with a slow reaction time, and certainly the car just did not get off the line, and those behind made very short work, but you can already see Job Stewart up +3 and is already putting some significant pressure on Dan Yeaman in front. He doesn't need to pass these guys yet. Simon Mazzomo, on the other hand, has done a cracking job at the start, has already made 2 positions, and if he can get to Shannon quickly, make a move on Shannon quickly, a little mistake there, so another position going to be gained from the mistake from Damien Can. So Job is already on the move. Job's cashing in early here. He really is. He's not just going to let Mazzomo and Key drive off. He's made significant gains already. Up 4th position as we complete first lap. And yeah, +4 already. Has passed Cairns, Muir, Favell and Ocean already.
Yeah, it's been a cracking start for Stewart. Mazzomo with a minor off track through turn 1. He keeps it going, but the 1Xs could play big factors here tonight across the process of the race. As Stewart is just applying this pressure at the moment to Yeaman ahead of him. Who would have thought Daniel Yeaman, one of the AOG admin who used to host the races that Job Stewart would participate on in the Tuesdays, would eventually be battling with him in the same car type for the same piece of real estate on the road.
Yeah, well, it's whether Yeaman wants to defend here, because if he keeps defending, these guys are going to start dropping off that top 4. So, you know, Dan needs to probably think clearly about this. The more they battle, the more they start going too wide, the more they're going to drop off of Mazzomo, Lawford, Dodds and Fever, who's done a fantastic job from the start. No mistakes so far, still maintaining that lead. Came P10 in race 1, certainly no slouch, and has done a great job so far. If we just look at Fever overall in the championship, it's not a name that stands out to me, and you probably know more. Yeah, way down. Didn't participate in race 1 and had a pretty ordinary Red Bull ring round. So, yeah, well down the order. We will absolutely be making improvements overall in the championship after tonight.
Yeah, and I think, you know, overall improvements on his season last season. He struggled a couple of times, made a couple of mistakes, got some penalties last season, so definitely a season to forget, but he's definitely on the up and trying to improve not only his racecraft but his racing ability as well. As Stewart wants to move down the inside at 1 here on Yeaman. Side by side they come. Oh, there's still...
Doesn't need to be doing it. Does not need to be hanging on. Delaying the inevitable here, Dan, and this is what's going to cost both of you. He's been able to hold this position so far. It's just a matter of time, though. Dan's losing spots. No, sorry. Losing time. Losing the ability to make gains later on. So he's putting pressure on himself. But the top 3 now got a bit of a gap. So Fever, Mazzomo, Lawford starting to just draw away from Dodds here.
So Stewart wants it up the inside of Yeaman this time. He backs out slightly.
Oh, he's got a light touch.
Oh, light touch.
Even more.
Yep.
But that's let Sam Muir back through. So Sam's cashed in there. Not a big fan of the way Dan's driving there. Did not need to be defending like that. And to be honest with you, it's cost both of them. Well, at the end of the day, it's cost Dan a couple of spots. So, you know, right now, this is a pull your socks up moment, because that does not need to happen. It's cost both of them.
Yeah, I think, I mean, they weren't necessarily dropping too much time to Dodds and Lawford, at least, that were directly in front of them. It was the thought of if Fever and Mizomo start, pushing ahead, then they might lose more at that stage. But, still early days in this race, plenty of time for them to come back throughout. It means that Stewart's now up in a P6, but he did drop a position through that battle with Yeaman. They wanted to try and battle hard as Dawson has gone off the road down at, I believe that there is Brooklands. So he's just having to get it going again just before Abbey. He's now dropped outside of the top 20, down 12. Here is Dawson. So, yeah, I mean, that was not necessarily a significant moment there for Job and Yeaman on the grand scheme of things for this race, but definitely one that, it didn't need to happen necessarily.
It's a lack of racecraft. I'm going to be as blunt as a shovel here. This did not need to happen. It was defending the undefendable, and it's cost. And what more, it's a significant position. Sam drove really well. P2 in race 1. Job did a great move early to get past, and now he's going to have to do it all again. And the other thing is Sam's now got the draft of Harry Dodd. So, yeah, if Sam can get through, I know we've still got 33.5 minutes to go. I get all that. But if Sam can make a move on Harry, and if Harry gets, in between the two of them and holds Job up for a couple of laps, it's a lot of work to get back. We look at the lead here. Last lap, up the front. Shannon Fever, 43.348. Mizomo, 43.28. Sam Muir, fastest of all, 43 flat. Job Stewart, because he was involved in that lightest of incidents, dropped a full second to Sam. So, and then you go to Yeaman, who dropped a 44.4, so he's dropping chunky time as well. So, good bit of racing going on here in the meantime.
Yeah, Sam trying to come at Dodsey here, but Job just trying to sneak back past, gets that job done.
You see how he closed the door there?
Yeah.
You see how he closed that door? It just takes all doubt. I keep saying, I used to do it when I was racing in a previous life. Take away hope, and that's exactly what he did. He closed the door on Sam. As soon as that spotter says you're clear, take away hope, get your nose in there, and take away that passing lane. And now Job's in a really strong position here.
Yeah, Yeaman managed to get past Muir as well at turn 1, but they look to go side by side. Off the back of Harry Dodd's car at the moment, Stewart is right on his tail. Muir and Yeaman, Muir's had to back out of it there. Yeaman takes the position, so these guys continuing to fight their way forward throughout this race, continuing to battle their way forward as well, but they've given up a chunk of time with Dodsey defending for his life for his teammate Angus Lawford. So Dodsey's playing the team game right now, and it is it's holding up Stewart, Yeaman and Muir, and even Favell, who's trying to make his way forward as well. So this it's a strategy that you can play at the end of the day, and Dodsey's doing everything he can to withstand it, but how long can Job take to get past?
Is he playing the team game? Probably yes, but also, is this his natural pace? This could be the pace that he's running. Don't forget, they've been side by side. There's been a little bit of goings to and fro. But Job now, already, these guys are 3 seconds. And, Job doesn't need to be doing it involved here. It's not a passing opportunity. Here he can make the move. Chooses not to. But already, these guys are now 3.1 seconds. The time is just going up and up and up. Job, that's
Dodsey.
not ideal. All by himself too.
Yep, the pressure has gotten to him. So, I mean, that made it a little bit easier for them now to get past. I mean...
Well, that's what I'm saying. So let's have a look at the time as Job goes across the start-finish line for this lap as he crosses the strike there. A 43.225, that's his fastest lap of the race. And Lockhart Brownie in P9, a 42.947 was his fastest lap of the race. But now we will see the true speed of Job, because he will not want to hang around and just work his way up slowly to the top 3. He's going to want to go up there and put pressure on straight away. And still, Shannon Fever leads this race. I'm a bit surprised that Mizomo hasn't made that move yet. Might actually just be saving fuel as well. There might not be any advantage in making that move, but hats off to Shannon Fever. Has led all laps so far. We're on lap 6 at the moment. And Shannon has done a fantastic job. But already that gap from Lawford to Mizomo at the start of this lap was 3.1 seconds. It's already down to 2.3.
So I want to have a look back to a driver we spoke about quite a fair bit in race 1. Colby Warren
Yeah.
is already up
Yeah.
10 positions in this race to P11, and he's chasing down the top
And
10.
he's on the tail.
Yep.
Yeah, and he'll be on the tail shortly.
Yep.
And he's got Damien Cairns, who we've seen's made a couple of little minor mistakes. So if you're Colby right now, you're going up to this pack with a fair bit of confidence. Lockhart Brownlee has also done a fantastic job, but this pack is building, and apart from Job, who's decided to check out, but this is very, very promising for Colby. Now, what do you do here if you're Colby? Do you consider there's a bit of an incident behind?
Yep, that was Paul
And the
Wilson.
redress not ideal, and then there's going to be,
why?
yeah, the redress was poor. I would say.
I mean, nothing. I mean, it's obviously gentlemanly for Tim to do
Yeah.
it, but
Okay.
we have it in and we say to drivers as well. If someone's gone off and they've dropped more than 5 spots, and we said it to them last season as well when
They're gonna go
an
on with
incident
this, yeah.
came
They're gonna
up.
go on with it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh. Yeah. And
I-
it's
yeah,
ended very
that-
poorly.
That's worth a replay because straight away you think to yourself, could have we done better there? I'm not going to say was it deliberate, but I think you'll find that
So well, I mean
there
that's
should
this
be,
is
stewards
the
have got some
initial.
work to do there.
This is the
So
initial.
show-
So there's contact. They both go round.
Yeah.
Fair play to
Yeah,
Tim.
yeah,
He's trying to. I mean, that's not the spot to do it. Paul
No.
has dropped, more than 5 spots. So
So what's going on here then?
yeah. So then they've come back again.
So straight away hip and shoulder. Now, yeah, there's a world of ugly about to happen here,
Yeah.
and for someone who's just redressed, they're already going nudges. Just has he braked too deep, perhaps from the? Okay, so narrow entry, and obviously we've got the victim here, Paul Wilson's got caught up in someone else's incident. Maybe the narrow entry's caught him out, and I'm trying to do the best I can to find a reasonable excuse for that, because that did not ever look like it was going to stick from that far.
Yeah.
And the other thing is you've got to question what was the necessity in it. You just did a really poor redress when you're not asked to do a redress. So number one, I know it's a gentlemanly thing to do, but race control haven't directed you to do a redress. You still might get a drive-through penalty or some form of penalty. And all we've done is create carnage. So, yeah, there's a bit going on there. Race stewards are going to have to look at that.
So they've already decided, it seems, to be giving a time penalty to Tim Nicol of 15 seconds for the contact, since
I
he
reckon
did
that's like-
redress the position. But from at least from my point of view, although race control have had a look at it, I mean, we said to
Well,
drivers
they looked
last
at both
season.
incidents.
I think
they
that
looked at both incidents.
they're writing it in now, so
Yeah. Okay.
I'm watching it live as we speak of them writing in the incidents. So
You would think a drive-through for the second incident.
possibly it depends on the lead up and how best it will then.
Move here by Job,
Yeah.
who's worked his way up to P3. Okay, so is Harry going to try and fight this? Doesn't really, sorry, not Harry, Angus Lawford. Doesn't need to. So Job's really on the march. Now, this is now brought out a little bit more desperation for Mazzomo, who's going, okay, well, we've got some pretty quick company here. So there's a change in the lead. So Shannon's dropped down to P2. I think Job will make pretty short work of this. I'll be honest with you, if I was Mazzomo, if he's had pace over fever this whole time, I think the racecraft's lacking, because you would like to think he should have extended out by 1 or 2 seconds. If he could have, he might not have been able to, because all he's done now is given encouragement for Job to be there. And Job's quick enough to save fuel at the same time. So, I would suggest Simon has certainly saved fuel, but Job's got some significant pace here.
Yeah, and it's the further question of how long will it take, or how long will Joe be willing to wait behind Shannon before he makes an attempt at the move, and then he's on the back of
he won't
last
muck around.
season's champion. He shouldn't muck around. We are, already a third of the way through things basically of this race. So he wants it up at the end of the hangar straight. Just Job Stewart down the inside of Shannon Fever. Job done there. Shannon gave it up to him nice and easy. So that's a good move from Job Stewart. Now he has, last season's champion Simon Mazzomo in his sights. Now, Simon may not fight this too hard, especially at this point of the race. He might just let him go and then save some fuel behind him. Simon's a very smart driver. He's crafty. He was crafty all of last season. He just picked his battles and picked the time when he wants to defend and when he wants to attack. And if Job puts enough pressure on him, he may then just decide, well, you can have it. I just want to be able to dock some good points here, because at the end of the day, a P2 finish is better than finishing P last after you've been in the wall. So Simon here will be smart about it.
Oh, look at the debris. So Job got caught on that debris just then. You can see him trailing away there. So Simon was able to see that debris quite early. Job was probably blinded by the large rear wing of the Porsche in front, so didn't see that. But you know, if you're Simon, do you want to be leading Job through? Like, Job's, you know, up to 0.8 of a second faster than Mazzomo. Like, if you're Simon and you go, well, yeah, I'll lead him through, I know I can stick with him, then do that. You know what I mean? And draw away from the rest of the field and try and save some fuel. But 0.8 is a hell of a lot of a time per lap here, and if he lets him through, and I don't think he will, but if he does let him through, well, he's got to be able to show he can stay with him.
It may be that he's selective of when he does it, if he does let him through. And it might be that he doesn't just pull over and let him go. He might just see that he's going to go for a move and then not defend it too hard and be willing to, you know, take an L on that change of position. But for Simon, I mean, how easily can you back Job up into Shannon, where then Shannon's going to be confident enough to attack him? You don't have Dan or Sam behind you, or Greg, where they're going to be confident enough to attack Job and try and get the move done, where Shannon may be a little bit out of his element this high up in the field. You know, he's not used to being right at the front of the field. He's used to being in the top 10, sure, but not right at the top end of town battling with the guys who are winning races. So this could...
another bit of a touch there. So again, time lost by Job there. Just went in a little bit too hot, stuck the nose in. I think there was a little bit of car contact there.
So
there was. To
give you a further update on that secondary incident with Paul Wilson and Tim Nicol, and I noticed it too initially on the replay we showed, there was actually side-by-side contact with car 57, Jared McLeod, on the straight prior to the corner. So they've actually given a pit lane penalty to Jared for unsettling Tim's car into that corner. And then that's what's caused the contact, it seems. So, or caused the secondary contact with Paul. So, you know, I think... I'm not sure if it's going to be a drive... they've said pit lane penalty. So it will be a pit lane penalty for car 57, Jared McLeod, it seems. Because Tim also called it in as well on Jared. So, yeah, I mean, it's a tough incident. It's a tough one.
Tough penalty too.
Yeah.
One thing that another thing, there was a change in position here. Simon backed out of that. There's no doubt Simon backed out of that. So new race leader Job Stewart's come from 10th up to 1st. It's taken him, we're on lap 11 now. So it's taken him 11 laps, 21 minutes to go. Probably about 12 laps of racing to go, we think, plus a pit stop. So, you know, if Mez can stick with him here, save a bit of fuel, look, he's probably going to gain maybe a second or two in the pit stop. But it's certainly advantage to Job at the moment. One thing iRacing do supply very, very well, amongst a lot of other things, is the replay system. You can get so many good angles and muck around with the camera. You can get any angle that you want. So the stewards have made the call based on the availability of the replays that they've got and they've chosen to use. So, yeah, a penalty that's probably warranted if you look at it that way. So, yeah, it's probably a tough one. And we've started to get first cars into the pits as well. Gamble, Lindsell, Johnny Road and Tim Nicol have all had a pit stop. Tim obviously had some repairs to do. And pit lane stationary, anything between 12 and 13 seconds.
Yeah, and I mean, they could cover tyres in that time.
Spin behind as well.
Lockhart Brownlee's been off the road, and that was Greg Favell who had the spin.
Favell.
So was there contact, or did he have to take evasive action on him there? Because I know those guys were pretty closely contested. So
Favell's pretty much all by himself here.
Yeah, so Favell goes round.
Oh my
God, that there was a wake-up call for Ocean Colangelo. If she
Yeah,
wasn't
she's
awake, she's awake now.
Yeah. Did a fantastic job avoiding that. So that's both mistakes now by the team. Team Accelerate Cairns has made a mistake, and obviously Favell as well. Unusual to see Favell make a mistake. He's normally pretty steady there. But so far, the big gainer here, and we're looking at him right now, Colby Warren. Interested to see, because the two big gainers, Steve Tompkins up 10, as is Marty Lofthouse, but both Colby and Lockhart have made some genuine passes here. These are the quick guys working their way through the field. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. One of them might even consider a pit stop, because the last thing these guys want to do is start getting racy when you've still got potential positions to gain up front.
Well, then there's also the thought of, well, if you pit, you then get buried in the field and then you get caught up with traffic who doesn't match your pace. So, you know, what's the balance going to be like of when you come in and when you don't? And deciding when you come in is going to be very, very important. We've had a call from Dan in the chat saying that Jared's penalty is not fair, apparently, according to Dan. But
well, Dan, you're entitled to your opinion, and you could be right, you could be wrong. I wasn't in a position to see that, so yeah, I'm not going to get involved. But certainly, I would imagine, hopefully, there's grounds for appeal, and a bit hard to appeal if you get a drive-through or a time penalty.
It was one of the reasons why we implemented the time penalty system was so hairy incidents which we weren't maybe sure should deserve a drive-through can then at least be challenged, and we can look into it further. So that's why those sorts of penalties were implemented. As more pit stoppers are in, Jared McLeod.
Have a look at the run Ocean's got here, taking on. This is a great drive by Ocean, and a quality. She just continues to improve. The more I see Ocean driving, she's going to get this done. Bit of a loss of traction there by Colby, and she has got this to stick. Ocean didn't start testing tonight until about 6 o'clock. I know that because she wasn't sure she was racing. So she has shown prodigious amount of talent here, and to make a move like that on Colby, who's made gains, and Ocean got caught up in someone else's incident, had to get out of it last lap, which has got through. And look how much, though, the two of them have dropped away from Lockhart Brownlee. So I would expect the two of them to make gains. Now, we're talking about if there's an advantage in pitting now, another move by Colby, that's quite deep. This is not what the two of these want. They do not want to be doing this. And Colby's been caught out in the boondocks out there. We'll lose a lot of traction, maybe in the marbles. Actually, wasn't that bad drive. Now, we're talking about advantages or disadvantages. Shannon Fever pits the previous pole position. So they're in pit lane for about 34, 35 seconds. So if you look at Job Stewart, if he was to come in and pit now, he would come out in P20 in a bundle of traffic behind Paul Wilson. A little bit of a gap in front of that. So there's no need or no want for Job to pit now. However, if you're either of these two cars, and they were about 7 seconds off of the lead at the moment, if they pitted, there is a gap for them. There's absolutely a gap for them that it could work. Now, you'll have to be the jury for me here. I don't know whether they're taking tyres or not. They're stationary for about 12, 13 seconds, whether they take tyres or not. And so if they don't take tyres, then why would you pit? Because there's not going to be an undercut, is there? All you're doing is making your fat car heavier, so you wouldn't need to. But if you do take tyres, well, then the undercut becomes into play. Yeah,
and I think it also the point of, well, how bad is the tyre wear? Because obviously this track, even now, kills tyres. The old variant, even more so, as Daniel Yeaman trying to make a move here on Angus Lawford for P3 on the road. Oh, can he get this job done? Oh, he does too. It was a good move from Yeaman in the end. And then blocked the lane for Lawford to get back past him. As both the leaders are in, so Stewart and Mazzomo are jumping for it. Yeaman, Lawford. Yeah, so I think they've actually gotten to the extent of the fuel.
So this is fuel limit.
Yeah.
This is fuel limit right here. Interested to see if any other car can make it through. But now, we were talking earlier about Mez possibly / probably saving fuel. If that's the case, we're about to see it right now. A couple of cars have gone through.
He has parked and aimed that car directly at pit exit.
Ready
He is ready to put the foot down. Fitzpatrick and Tonkin have got an extra lap. Job Stewart drops. He has not taken tyres, I don't think. Because I don't
think anyone did.
Yeah, I don't think they did either. So
Mez was actually stationary 12.8 and Job 13.3. So of all the stops, Sam Muir was actually the quickest, 11.9. So I'm not sure there's much gain there overall because pit lane was still pretty close to the same. So an aggressive pit lane approach by Job has certainly worked out there. He's in the lane, even though he was a little bit, is half a second slower being stationary, he was actually faster in the lane. So it's all the little things. It's all the 1%ers that gain you time, and that's what's happened there.
So now Yeaman as well, who's come out of pit lane alongside Muir, has taken advantage of this. Where is Lawford gone? He has taken 33 seconds for a pit lane for a stop, but that's not a stop hold because a stop hold would be 40 seconds. So
wondering if had some repairs to fix, perhaps
that or overfueled the car, possibly. Although actually no, you can't because you can only go to a certain amount of fuel. So I'm not sure. Maybe he took tyres and that just added time. I don't know. As Fitzpatrick and Tonkin are in.
That's the case. Yes, that's the case. Yeah, we're down to 7 laps to go, guessing. So 13 and a half minutes to go. What's the advantage in dropping so much time to take tyres when there's only 7 laps to go? A couple of shout outs here. Scotty Gamble has done a really good job as well, up to P15. Don't forget, did a early stop, and there's potential for Gambo maybe to move up a couple of spots with both Fitzpatrick and Tonkins ran longer than the rest of the field. They're in pit lane now.
They're just about to leave pit lane, actually. Slightly shorter stop as well.
Yeah, well, they take 1 lap less fuel, obviously. So they'll come out just in front of Favell and Gamble. And Favell and Gamble, old sparring buddies from the Vets days, absolutely. And they've had more than 1 or 2 touches in their time, but they get along quite well. But these guys are now driving up to both Tonkin and Fitzpatrick. In fact, Favell's already gone through Tonkin. So not sure how that's going to go there. And another move here.
So just to confirm as well, Lawford took tyres. So the crew chief apparently claimed they were ticked off, but they weren't. So he unfortunately took tyres on that stop against his better judgment. So that then says to me that tyres are taken separately to fuel in these cars. That's good knowledge for me, at least. So now I no longer have to ask the question, did they take tyres? Because it's going to be obvious if they have a 30-second stop, because that's obviously going to be tyres. So
we're looking at a battle here with Colby Warren, Lockhart Brownie,
Colby and Brownlee spun round.
Terrible redress again. I can understand the necessity to try and get clear. I was about to say, we look at Colby Warren, who was up to P5, and who's no longer with Colby. We only saw a couple laps ago that Ocean was right with Colby. Ocean's dropped a bundle of time in the pits. She was stationary for 18 seconds. Not sure whether tyres were taken there, and that's a mistake that if you're in the championship, you don't need to do.
Yeah, I think unfortunately for Colby, he went for the gap, but unfortunately Lockhart went for the gap that he had as well, as Brownlee's off the road again, and it's just caused contact. So I'm not sure what race control will say about it. That'll be a slowdown though, surely.
It's got to be a slowdown. Got to be a slowdown. And
now Fever's off as well.
Back there.
Yeah.
But you can see where Ocean is in the background and dropped a bundle of time in pit lane. So that's disappointing. Obviously, we'll have a chat about that after the race or during the week and see what happened. But yeah, there's some issues there, and Favell's working his way back up again. But meanwhile, out the front, Job Stewart has driven away.
Yeah, 1.6 seconds is now the gap. Yeaman and Muir continuing their battle for P3 real estate at the moment. The more they battle, though, the faster that Colby Warren will chase them down. Side by side under the bridge. He couldn't quite get it done on this lap, could Yeaman. So we'll see if he comes back at him in the next couple of corners. But yeah, I mean,
so if you're Sam Muir, are you disappointed with how tonight's gone? It was only a tenth off of. He's only in qualifying. He was only a tenth off Job Stewart. So far tonight, Job dominated him in race 1, has passed him twice during this race, and is now 8.5 seconds down the track on the road. Look, I get that there's points to be won. I totally understand that. And whilst the championship leader is away, he's cashing in. But I think he's got more in him for race pace, and I think maybe he's driven fairly conservative tonight.
I think that there's also, though, that especially in this race, he's been caught up in the battles and trying to fight his way through the top 10. On the grand scale of things for the championship, his first 2 rounds have been quite spectacular. He's been one of the better drivers on the road in last round and then this round as well. I think there is some positives to take from this performance tonight. If he can manage to hold off Yeaman and stay on the podium, then this is a massive positive for him. I think there are definitely negatives he could take away from it. Maybe getting more consistent race pace closer to Job in future would definitely be one of them.
So number one, like position-wise, P3, walk away, give yourself high fives and all that stuff because you're up on the podium sipping champagne. Well done, congratulations. But I think there's more in him that he hasn't shown tonight, and he's probably still learning as each round goes on. We've got to remember Job has been doing sim racing a lot, and I don't know Sam's background. He could have been doing sim racing for 30 years. I don't know, but I think when he walks away from tonight, he'll be slapping himself on the back saying, good job getting podiums, if that's what he's to hold. But I would like to think he will critique himself, and I'll probably put my team manager's hat on here, probably critique himself going, well, where else can I improve?
Well, there's also the thought of, too, though, the fact that, Job is a top level, or not top level, but he's a Super 2 driver, so like he's one rung off the top level of Australian motorsport. At least for local motorsport here in Australia, he is one tier away from the top tier. So, even for Sam to be this close to him and to be running those sorts of lap times is an incredible effort. And I think for him, as you said, there's positives for him to take away. There's some improvements too. I think, improvement without self-reflection as Marcus Cook goes off the road with, I think that was Rodney Golan. No, he's just battling away. It is getting tight and tough in the midfield. Yeah. I think, positives come from self-reflection, but self-reflection can also come from positives too. So, and I think that, if you're not self-reflecting and thinking, where can I improve, or where can I pull more positives from, or how can I make my positives even better, then you're never going to get better. So for Sam, if he wants to get better and get up to Job's level, even if he has a perfect race, there is always something that you can improve upon.
No, I totally get that. And like I said, he's 9 seconds off the lead after starting in front. So Job's passed him twice, and we've done 9. We're on lap 19. So there's no doubt there'll be work to do. And Job drives in the ASRG, the Pro Series, and also did extremely well in round 1 of the GT Pro Series until he had a disconnection of some hardware. And there's a good run here. There's a good little battle going on here as well. So this is Lockhart Brownlee and Shannon Fever. Shannon's done an outstanding. He spoke a little bit too.
Yeah, he didn't quite have the turn in, and as Lockhart went to go in there, there was a car there. So I don't know. That's tough. A tough night for Lockhart continues on. There's been a couple of drivers who had some off tracks in the background, including Sean Linzell and Marcus Cook as well. And Rodney Golan has had an incident prior to that moment there. So this was up at the entry towards Brooklyn. So he was in behind those Project 36 cars. He had his teammate in behind, got a little bit too close under brakes, and round she goes. And Gardner, and then I think that was his teammate, Dean Reddit, made their way past him, trying to take evasive action. Not a bad rejoin in the end, but just a tough little mistake has cost Rodney there. And I've said it quite a lot Brenton, those are those little 1%ers that separate, you know, guys like Job, guys like Simon, Sam, Yeaman, etc., with some of the mid-pack battlers out there. You could have great pace at a track, but if you have not committed to getting your 1%ers in line, then you're never going to get that consistency up. And you know, they'll then think, oh, I've got to get my lap times up, well, not up, down, I've got to get my pace up. It's like, well, your pace will come down, your lap times will come down with more consistency. If you're more consistent, you will find pace. It's fine to be fast.
It's such a fine line, isn't it?
It is.
And I say it to a lot of the guys in my team and also elsewhere, you know, over a lap time of 1 minute 40, which is, what they're about here, 1:43, but over a lap time of 1 minute 40, that's 100 seconds. So if you're 1 second off pace, if you're doing 1:41s, you're only 1% slower, but that 1 second is a massive difference. You know, 10 laps later, you're 10 seconds behind. It's finding that extra 1%, and that's where you need to do the laps. That's where you need to set the car up, and you know, that 1 second, that 1% is just, it's the golden ticket, isn't it, to try and find that.
Yeah, and when you take away the 1%er of, well, how can I set up my car better when, you know, obviously it's a fixed setup series, well, then you look at, how do you get your racecraft up? You know, how do you get your race pace up, or your one lap pace, or your strategy? There are these so many little fine lines that have cost drivers so much throughout the period of time. And, you know, to be fair, no, you know, harsh faults of their own, but they're all the learning processes of racing, you know, and
having the confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, absolutely having the confidence to take it to the next level, you know, and you know, again, one of the advantages of iRacing, if you're out there doing endless laps of practice, it doesn't cost anybody anything for fuel, tyres, or anything, and if you put it into a wall, you press the reset button and away you go. It doesn't cost anything. Good little battle here. Again, Ocean has done nothing but impress me tonight. She's done a fantastic job. This is a battle for P6 with Damien Cairns, who we know has made a mistake or two. And interested to see, with just the 3 minutes to go, so probably about 2 laps to go, whether this amount of pressure is going to actually make Damien to generate a mistake, or whether Ocean's going to have to really work her way through.
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously then, you know, speaking about Ocean as a good example, the point of those little 1% improvements you can make. I think the one big thing that Ocean can improve upon, that's proven to me tonight, and I think it was even at Hockenheimring as well, is just the starts. If she can get her race starts to an absolute, you know, within 1 millisecond of perfection, she will be just lightning quick. She'll be lightning in a bottle. She will be so tough to beat because she won't be giving up positions that she then needs to fight back through. Right now, the best she can get in this race is to get back where she started in P6, where if she'd actually perfected her start, she would be up on the top 5 and battling possibly for a podium, as well as Fitzpatrick in the background wants to move on Fever.
Shoulder.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which we don't mind a little bit of hip and shoulder. You know, that's racing. Get door to door. We love to see that. It's when it can get to the extremes of you doing it every single lap and you're being very aggressive with it. That's what we don't want to see. Necessarily. Job Stewart, though, in towards Brooklyn's corner, will have 1 lap to go when he crosses the line. And he'll look to go 2-0 here at Silverstone tonight to take his 3rd win of the season, be 2nd round win of the season as well. And just to do quick math, could be the lead of the championship, but I'm not 100% sure on that exact number.
Yeah, I would say Colby's done a fairly good job. Got burnt.
Colby.
P20 in lap 1 in the first race.
That might cost Colby. The one to watch actually is Mez. Mez may be on for lead of the championship at the moment because he had roughly 20 points or 23 points ahead of Job. So it'll be tight, but it'll be between those two to be the leader of the title race.
So on this last lap, we'll just crunch some small numbers. Fastest lap of the race has been Job, a 42.433. His last lap, it doesn't really need to be pushing, still a 42.6. Mez's fastest lap, 42.9. So straight away, there's a decent distance between the fastest laps of the 2 leaders. Colby Warren's 42.6 is the 2nd fastest lap that I can see on my board. And outside of that, there's a bunch of 42.9s, etc., and 43s. Craig Schultz has also made a move on Damien Cairns late, but yeah, I'll let you call the leader in.
As he comes around towards Cops Corner and underneath the bridge here to end our time back in time tonight at Silverstone. It has been, well, a night for an almanac here of Job Stewart. He'll go down in the history books. He'll take himself his third race win this season. It'll be his second round win, as I said, and he'll be right back up to the top 2 of the championship, leaving the UK tonight and leaving this time period as well. As he comes around the final few corners, it's win number 2 of the night and the round win for Job Stewart of Evolution Racing Team as he crosses the start-finish line. P1 on the road, Simon Mazzomo. The number 1 car will cross P2. Another solid performance from him. Sam Muir, who was under pressure all race from Yemen, will just survive by 0.17 of a second. Warren up 16 positions into the top 5 in this race. And Colangelo back to where she started in P6, ahead of Cairns, Schultz, Favell, and Fitzpatrick inside of the top 10 for his first locked-in list race. A fantastic effort for him. Fever, P11, a solid performance in the end after starting on pole and out of his pace depth. Brownlee, well, a night to forget, but hopefully he can make improvements for next week. Scotty Gamble, very impressive, up 10 into P13. Alan Dawson, Steve Tonkin, up 11 into P15 as well, a great performance. Marcus Cooks, Sean Linzell, Angus Lawford, John Akers, and Harry Dodds make up the top 20 to Dean Reddit, Ellie Gardner, Jared McLeod, Paul Wilson, Rodney Golan, top 25, Johnny Rogue, Gary Watson, Martin Lofthouse, David Clark, Stacey Boyd, Kurt Chapman, and Aaron Smith at the back of the field. But for Job, it's a perfect night, it's perfect points. Bonus point for pole position, race 1 win, race 2 win as well. So he is taking home the full bonanza here out of Silverstone. And next week going into Winton, he is going to be a dangerous man on track as he has a lot of on-track experience at that circuit. He's one of the fastest drivers in the field, and if Lazarus is not here, it could be bye-bye to championship for him, and it could be another tip of the cap for Joe. But a solid race in the end for him, and a solid race on the night there. I think more or less the story of the night is where can you make improvements, where can you push forward when you need to, and what are the 1%ers costing you? That's what the drivers need to be self-reflecting on.
Yeah, a very, very solid night by Job. And to be honest with you, yeah, we called it before the race with the greatest respect to other drivers. He is the class of the field, and it really showed that tonight. Fantastic job. Special shout-outs, Colby Warren. What a fantastic comeback there, up 16 spots. And to be honest with you, was just that little bit short of being on the podium. You know, we're only talking half a second off being on the podium. So fantastic their job there. Ocean actually did pip Damien Cairns in the end. So, you know, you said it exactly right. Where if she can work on the starts, she can, you know, certainly make life a lot easier for her. But she has so many commitments with so many other cars. So probably hasn't a lot of time starting these cars. And also Gambo and Blake Fitzpatrick, both of them up 10 spots. So really good, solid job for them all. And yeah, that was a good result. And like you said, Winton next week. I would imagine Job might have some real life commitments and testing in Winton next week. So hopefully it won't, maybe not next week, sorry, but next month I know is a very busy month in July. If you're a little bit of a secret out, if you're driving past Winton in July, the new Supra, the supercar is being homologated there over the next month and tested over the next month. So you could drive past here and see the Supra doing some testing. I'm not sure Job's going to be part of that. I would say not, but I'd say that there's still some testing that come in the future for Job.
Well, we'll start, though, having a chat to our podium finishers here tonight, including our race winner, of course, in due time for Job Stewart. Beginning, though, with Sam Muir, P3 on the road in the end. Let's have a quick chat to him. Sam, a solid performance for your second race of the season, a solid chunk of points as well. Without the drop round, you'd be right up there at the moment inside the top 10 of the championship. Showed very, very good pace. Got into some good battles tonight as well. But unfortunately, I mean, you had the practice and the qualifying pace. You couldn't quite get the pace during the race, though, to match Job. But I think, was that more or less coming down towards the battles, or was it just the race pace was just that little bit off?
Yeah, I'd like to blame the battles, but that definitely just did not have Job's pace tonight. So no shame finishing P2 to him, but yeah, that gap between us at the end of the first legs, probably a little bit too much that I'd like. So plenty of us to work on and improve.
Now, Sam, Winton next week, tough circuit obviously to make passes really, really stick. This circuit offers good passing opportunities, but there's also opportunities to, defend those positions. How do you think we could find it next week? I mean, we've changed the format to be a sprint round, so it shouldn't be, fingers crossed, as chaotic as it would have been if it was a rush round. But how are you feeling going into that one? Do you feel that, if your pace is strong, you could get a good finish out of it? Or do you think you might have to work your way through the field to get something out of next week?
Yeah, pretty happy when I saw that it was changed from a rush round. I think that'll definitely help a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's Winton, it's tight, it's twisty, it's going to be chaos whether there's an invert or not. So yeah, quali is going to be super important for that first race, and then it just might be a bit of a battle for survival in that second leg, but hopefully we'll have some good pace to be up the pointy end again.
You did so well to sell Winton to me then. I know that sometimes those thoughts of Winton are negatives to me. I love Winton. It's fantastic. I love driving it. I love watching races there because drivers really have to send it to make up something, and when they do it cleanly, you get some fantastic racing out of it. But Sam, a phenomenal night for you on the road. P3 in the end in the feature race. Some solid points on the board for your championship tally as well. Let us know anyone you want to give a shout out to, any sponsors or friends or family who may be watching. For myself and Brenton here in the booth and everyone else in the IRWC, congratulations on your podium in the feature race.
Yeah, cheers guys. I might not be back here again, so I might take up a few thank yous. But yeah, just a massive shout out to you guys first and foremost. Missed out on the first season and just kept an eye on it from afar and was super keen to join in the fun this season. It's a real credit to you guys what the quality of league that you've been able to put together, and it's obviously attracting some pretty high talent, and just happy to be a part of it. So massive thanks to you guys. Shout out to Dan Yeaman. That was an awesome battle, some of the most fun that I've had in the sim in this car. So yeah, massive thanks for the race and the great battle there, and shout out to all the guys at 1-9.
Very good, Sam. Best of luck next week at Winton. We look forward to seeing how you go, and we might perhaps be having a chat to you once again.
Hope so. Cheers, Hamish. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right, next up on the ticket, we have got the defending champion of Season 1, the number 1 car of Simon Mazzomo. It does let me drag him in. Mez, I'm just going to assume we've interrupted your conversation with Job Stewart right there. It's a classic trick of the broadcast booth. The best things is when we interrupt it, and you're either mid-swear and then you get all embarrassed, or you're mid, saying something cheeky and then we catch you saying something cheeky, but... no, phenomenal performance for you tonight. It appears that the curse of the number 1 car is not that bad for you, at least, as you took home some solid points in this race.
Yeah, usually it is a curse, although touch wood stays that way. It's probably gonna go all backwards now, but yeah, I was just saying to the boys, I need to work on my quali because my quali's just letting me down big time, but. Yeah, for a track that's difficult to pass, I seem to make some good moves tonight and a few good strategy calls, and yeah, I'm just stoked to actually just get a podium out. So and no less trying to chase Job Stewart. So yeah, I'm chuffed with how tonight went.
Now, me and Brenton spoke about quite a fair bit, obviously, as Job was chasing you down, of how are you best going to be able to approach that scenario of him being on your tail. Eventually, you didn't necessarily lift, but he went for the move, and you kind of gave it to him in the end. At that point, were you confident you could stick with him at least till the pit stop, or was it, was it the classic case of Mez doesn't believe in himself and he thinks he can't battle Job Stewart?
There was an attempt. Well. The idea was I was never going to try and battle Job. Like there's no way I can beat him on raw pace. So the idea was try and get in front of Shannon, and then when Job would pass him and come to me, just let him go. Like I was never going to fight him. I was always just going to let him go. And the idea was just to stick him behind him. I thought maybe I'd last a lap or two and that, but no, I was probably doubting myself, but. No, I was genuinely shocked that I had just enough pace to sort of stick. I think the draft was helping me big time. Like we were talking about down in the waiting room, the last sector, I think Job was at least 3-4 tenths faster than me, but because I was just quick enough in the first two sectors, the draft was just letting me stay with him, and that's all it was. And you could see once I lost the draft after the pit stops, Job just took off because I didn't have that draft keeping me. So, but yeah, I was a bit surprised. I was confident I had top 5 pace, which was why I was so annoyed about my quali effort, because I thought I can definitely run top 5. I could definitely run with the guys up front. And then yeah, it just sort of didn't work out. But I knew I could stick close to Job. I didn't think I could actually hang on the way I did before the pit stops.
Well, Winton next week has now been changed to a sprint round. What are the confidence levels like going into that race?
Winton is definitely not a strong one for me. I've done okay there in the past. Last time I raced there was back in the SRW days when they had their Porsche League, so it's been a fair while. So I'm probably not going to get a lot of practice beforehand. We've got GT Pro this Friday, so basically tomorrow we start working hard on that. So, and then after that night, I'm probably not going to want to see the sim for probably another 48 hours. So it might be a very limited effort going into Winton, but I think, yeah, it's good that it's gone to a sprint round. I think a rush round there, it would have been interesting. But yeah, I think, yeah, we'll wait and see. We'll see how we go, really.
Well, it's been a pleasure once again to have a chat to you, Mez. Great performance from yourself to get onto the podium tonight. Let us know, helps get you at 9.5 Sim Sports out on track. Anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well, for myself, Brenton, and the rest of the league around us here as well. As I said, congrats on this P2 in race 2, and actually the performance you had in race 1 as well was spectacular.
Nice, thanks guys. Yeah, big shout out to the team as always. Shout out to Craig. It was a good hand in the sim tonight. Sponsors: Racecraft, RSW Graphics, Track School Track Days, Racing News, and yeah, once again, big shout out to you guys for the broadcast and for the league as well. It's this season. On a side note, and I was mentioning it to the guys as well, I think this season the skill level has just picked up substantially. There's like the top 10 drivers in this league are just all crazy amount of skill, and the fact that we've had bigger grids and the racing has remained just as good, I think it's a testament to this league. And yeah, it's awesome that it's going so well.
Mez, you know that you're a driver in the top 10, right?
Well, you say that,
and you know that after tonight you're also a driver now in the top 3.
Look, I don't tend to include myself in that, but that's because I'm very much my own worst enemy. So, but yeah, but no, it's good. I'm enjoying the competition this year. It's stepped me up a bit, and it's really nice.
Well, a great performance once again from yourself, Mez. Thanks so much for coming over to chat to us. Best of luck on Friday in the Logitech G Pro Series, and then also next week as well when we head out to Winton.
Nice, thanks guys.
Thank you. Next up,
go do a little bit of a shout. It's the Gamesman.
Oh,
GT
sorry, the Gamesman GT Pros.
Gamesman GT Pro Series.
Oh well, we've gotten that one solidified now of what it's actually called, so that's good. And should be good racing on Friday as well.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Spa's a great track. It's really suited to the GT3s, and we're gonna have guys like our next driver up here participating. Absolutely.
Yep, our race winner here this evening of Evolution Racing Team takes his second and third win this season, the second round win for you, Sir Job Stewart. Congratulations on a top performance tonight. Fantastic pace. It's maximum points. It's the pole position bonus point, and as well 2 race wins to boot. So a solid performance after last week's somewhat mishaps, but more or less just a difficult night on the road at the Red Bull Ring, where tonight at Silverstone you're back to your best and back to winning ways.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, I think this format was a little bit kind to me this time. But yeah, I was pretty happy with that. Wasn't really any little issues really throughout both races. So yeah, I was pretty happy at the end of it. Probably made it a bit easier that Corey and a few of the other guys were absent this week, but yeah, it'll be pretty tough going back to Winton next week when all those guys are back.
Now I know I've joked to you in the past of the of the media training, but as the man who joins me, Brenton O'Brien, had a part in that, in playing with that as well, Job, or is that just you getting more and more comfortable to being up here and chatting to commentators?
Yeah, I don't know.
No,
Brenton's...
no.
Nah, Brenton's been pretty good to me. Yeah, he's helped me as much as he can with some of the racing stuff, and obviously he's involved with the real life stuff too. So, he does help out a fair bit. With both sides of the racing.
Well,
So if anything, Job's a little bit shy because I actually, on his last time he came out to Phillip Island, I actually asked to interview him for a promo video for the Pro Series, and he turned me down. Black and white turned me down. So Job's going to be coming out to Phillip Island again shortly, I hope, and I'm going to pull him aside, take him up to race control, and then we'll get some words out of him there. But Job, a fantastic job tonight, something you should be really proud of, and I'll let Hamish keep chatting away to you.
Well, Job, of course, Winton next week. You've got plenty of experience around there in the real life car, and then on the sim too. Is it going to be even more confident now going into that race after your performance here tonight, and obviously back at round 1 at the Hockenheim Ring, or do you think there's still a little bit more work to do for you to knuckle down on anything?
Yeah, there's always a little bit of work. Winton will, probably hopefully be a good track for me. It's probably a bit more of a qualifying dependent track, obviously, because it's so tight and there's not really many passing spots. So, yeah, I'll just probably work a bit more on the quali pace. And yeah, I guess that'll just be one of the main focus areas going there next week.
Well, the beauty of next week as well is it's been changed from a rush round to a sprint round, so you don't have to worry about the three round format, or the 3 race format, for next week. You get to wait 3 more weeks now until we head to Bathurst for the next instalment of a rush round, and then Okayama the week straight afterwards. So, you get some regular racing over the next few weeks at Winton and then the Bend the week after. But a pleasure once again to have a chat to you, Joe. A phenomenal performance from yourself and the team as well. Ocean drove very well, so did Scotty and the other drivers out there too. But let us know, helps get you out on track. Anyone you want to give a shout out to as well. And for myself, Brenton and the rest of the league around us too, congratulations on your double win tonight, your round win, maximum points, and just a solid performance all round.
Yeah, no problem. Once again, just thanks to you guys for putting on a good show, and in the broadcast booth, thanks to you, Hamish, and Brenton again for coming on board here this round, and yeah, thanks to all the other ERT guys. There was a couple of them away this week, but the 3 that were here always put in their best efforts, so yeah, thanks to them.
Well, Joe, best of luck Friday in the GT Pro Series, and best of luck next Monday as well when we're out at Winton.
No problem, mate. Thank you.
Thank you. He's a very soft-spoken guy, but he's a very nice guy.
One of the best acquisitions to ERT in a long time.
That's probably the understatement of the century on that one, there, Brenton, if I'm honest.
Well, we're lucky enough that we've had some very talented and some really good quality drivers, people come and go. Joe is right up in the upper echelon there, because he presents well, he drives well, he's clean, he's fast. He's a pro driver in the sim by definition, we know that, but he's a pro driver on and off. He's just a quality guy. He really is. Very quiet spoken, don't hear a lot from him. Lets his feet and his wheel do the talking. But just such a good acquisition for the team, and as soon as he reached out to us about 6 months ago and said there's an interest in coming over to ERT from SSR, Stevie Wonder would have seen what was coming there, and we absolutely couldn't say yes quick enough.
Obviously a massive acquisition for ERT, and probably only really rivaled by the acquisition for the Chiefs of oh my god, now I can't remember, James Scott going to the Chiefs. You know, getting a driver of that level in that car type. You know, someone who you think of at least in Australian, you know, Porsche Cup racing here in the sim. Job's one of the first names you think of. In terms of top level performance, you know, James is someone like that for supercars, you know, alongside those like Madison Down and stuff and Jared Filsell and stuff like that. But no, I mean he's an incredible driver. As I said, you know, very soft spoken, but you know, someone who does his talking on the circuit, you know, which is what's most important to him.
But he also says the right things. You know what I mean? He says the right things, doesn't create controversy.
That's why I said he's media trained very well. If a supercars team is up for a media trained driver, he's going to be one of the drivers at the top of the list. So
yeah, no, not by me at all. I've had zero to do with that, but you can see his confidence building, and on and off the track. And yeah, we've had guys like Ethan Grigault, who I remember when Ethan first came to ERT. And Ethan knows it. He had the worst stuttering problem, had no confidence talking to people and all that. But now, Ethan can look straight down a camera, which is not easy to do, and describe everything and talk about everything that needs to be spoken about. And that was a lot of internal team training with Ethan, and it's got him places now. He works for Marcus Ambrose now, and but with Job, no, we had nothing to do with that. His confidence is rising, which is scary for a lot of people.
It is, because a confident, quick driver is a scary driver, and one that is incredibly tough to beat. But it's been an incredible night once again here in the IRWC for the VRS Porsche Cup Series. Next week, we head out to the wonderful Winton Raceway right here in Victoria to go racing at a circuit which, as the driver said and as we've said, very difficult to pass. You can get some good battling though, because it's easy to defend, and it's going to be a fantastic night on the road. Sprint round action next week, as we said, not a rush round, so we'll be having a 20 and a 40 once again. And then the week after, we're still on home soil because we go over to the Bend for a feature race there, and then to Bathurst to end our Australian triple header as a rush round commences out at Mount Panorama. But a massive thank you to all of our series sponsors, of course. Our title sponsors, VRS Virtual Racing School. Massive pleasure having them come on board this season. The prizes for our first 3 rounds will be going out to our winners very shortly as well, for the prizes as well for the last 2 rounds of last season too. I'll be emailing good old Joe over at VRS to get those out to me, so we'll be handing those out very shortly, as well to Infinity Broadcasting as well. If you're watching over on Twitch, be sure to hit the follow button. If you're watching right here on YouTube, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe, the bell icon as well. And if you're watching when the live is finished, please watch all the way through from start to finish, as that sort of engagement does help them promote the series to other viewers out there who may not be aware of us, and will help bring them in, which helps grow the series, grows the channel, helps us get more racing on board for you here, so you can enjoy much more of my subtle tones if that's what you're truly after. So if that's what you're after, then we would so appreciate that. To SPP Graphics as well, if you want to get your motocross dirt bike looking as sexy as ever before you cover it in dirt, send them a message. Blackheart Designs, if you want to get your sim car looking as sexy as possible, send me a message over on Discord. We'll get you sorted out in the Simland too. All of our sponsors are down in the description below, including direct sponsor link to SPP Graphics down there, as well as VRS too. Please like the Facebook page as well, the IRWC. That's linked directly in the description below as well, so you're kept up to date with all the info on the series going forward. Sign-ups for this series will be announced very soon for Season 3. So we'll be starting to work on that, as well as the announcement of our next series, our next premium series that will be taking place, and an announcement for our special event that will be coming up in a couple of months' time as well. So it's all happening right here in the IRWC. For myself, Hamish Munro Brenton O'Brien alongside, appreciate your time, appreciate you being here with us once again. Thank you so much, Brenton, for joining me here tonight and coming in to the co-commentator role once again. Hopefully next week at Winton it's going to be just as good. But I've been Hamish Munro with Brenton O'Brien. Appreciate you being here with us once again. We'll see you guys next week at Winton. I'll see you guys Friday for the Rodnock Cup from Martinsville Speedway. But until then, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, bye for now.
no control. Feel the thunder in my soul. Through the danger, through the pain, only one thing to do to get to victory lane. Taking risks, full send, and in the end, be the best. It's taking over, cannot contain the desire to get to victory lane. Of the past, the roaring ghosts that never last. But here I stand, the finish line. One last race, one last time. Through it all, get past the pain. Cutting laps, making gains. Feeling tired, get to my aim. The desire to get to victory lane. Speeding faster, no control. Feel the thunder in my soul. Through the danger, through the pain, only one thing to do to get to victory lane. Taking risks, full send, and in the end, be the best. It's taking over, cannot contain the desire to get to victory lane.